Welcome back. Today, a true craftsman takes on a machine most would leave to the scrap heap. The restoration begins by unseating the fuel tank, exposing the depth of the decay. Decades of exposure leave bare steel heavily oxidized, seizing threads and binding hardware. Carefully breaking the cap loose prevents further damage to the thin metal collar. The baseline is established. With the tank detached, the focus shifts to stripping away the ruined surface. A utility knife easily clears the heavily bubbled layers where moisture has already broken the bond. For the more stubborn primer, a chemical stripper is applied. The solvent reacts immediately, breaking the chemical crosslinks in the old paint and causing it to lift away from the raw steel. This leaves a clean surface for inspection, revealing pinhole leaks caused by internal condensation. A quick pass with a welder seals the compromised areas. The extreme heat of the arc melts the filler wire and base metal together, restoring the tank's structural integrity. A rotary sanding bit then grinds the weld flush, preparing the metal for finishing. To prevent future corrosion from the inside out, a two-part epoxy sealer is poured directly into the bare tank. Rolling the casing distributes the thick liquid into every seam and pinhole. Once cured, it forms an impermeable barrier against modern ethanol fuels. The steel is permanently protected. A uniform layer of high-build primer is laid down to fill any microscopic surface imperfections. Primer cannot bond properly to loose rust or contamination, making the earlier chemical stripping crucial. After the primer flashes off, a deep, glossy black base coat is applied. The multiple light passes ensure an even, mirror-like finish without runs or heavy orange peel. While the tank cures, attention turns to the damaged plastic side covers. A two-part epoxy is mixed to rebuild the missing material. The resin and hardener react chemically to create a rigid, durable patch that bonds directly to the original plastic. A small sanding drum is then used to refine the repaired edge, matching the factory contour perfectly. After a fresh coat of paint, the iconic graphics are applied, completely masking the extensive repair work beneath. Returning to the chassis, a rubber mallet gently breaks the rust seal, holding the exhaust pipe in place. Gentle, blunt force prevents crimping the fragile, oxidized metal. The main engine block displays deep, penetrating rust across every cooling fin and bolt head. Removing the side cover exposes the accumulation of grime and moisture that has worked its way past degraded gaskets. Finally, the main mounting bolts are backed out, allowing the heavy, seized block to be lifted free from the frame. The teardown is complete. The damaged engine casing requires a specialized repair technique. By pressing the cover into a dark sand mold, a precise negative impression is created to support the molten metal. A handheld torch melts an aluminum alloy in a crucible until it reaches a liquid state. This high-temperature approach allows the new metal to fuse seamlessly with the old casing, filling the puncture with solid material. It is a traditional casting method that saves an otherwise ruined part. A metal file knocks down the rough edges of the newly cast repair, blending the patch into the surrounding casing. Once smoothed and degreased, the aluminum components are treated to a fresh layer of high-temperature silver paint. This specialized coating is formulated to withstand the extreme thermal cycling of an air-cooled engine without flaking or discoloring. The parts are left to dry under controlled conditions. the iron cylinder block requires a more aggressive approach to remove decades of baked-on carbon and rust. Submerging the part in a heavy-duty chemical bath strips away the buildup without damaging the crucial internal bore. Once neutralized and cleaned, the block receives a durable, heat-resistant black powder coat. The textured finish ensures uniform coverage across the deep cooling fins, which rely on maximum surface area to dissipate engine heat. A new silver piston is carefully aligned and slipped into the freshly honed cylinder, ensuring tight compression for the rebuilt engine. The original metal emblems are salvaged using a fine-tooth file to remove surface pitting. A spinning buffing wheel then cuts through the remaining oxidation, bringing the soft metal back to a brilliant, mirror-like shine. To restore the original branding, a precise adhesive stencil is applied over the polished surface. A dark enamel wash is dabbed into the lettering before the stencil is carefully peeled away. The contrast is sharp and exact. Moving to the rolling chassis, the severe oxidation on the suspension components becomes the primary obstacle. A heavy socket wrench is required to break the torque on the rusted rear axle nut. Corrosion swells the metal threads, locking the hardware in place. Penetrating fluids are often needed to dissolve the rust bonds without shearing the bolt heads. The worn front wheel is pulled from the forks, revealing severely degraded brake shoes and a rusted internal drum. Stripping the wheel down to the bare hub requires snipping away the old, compromised spokes entirely. A wire brush quickly eliminates the surface rust on the brake drum, preparing it for resurfacing. The restored hub, now coated in a protective gray finish, is placed in the center of a new chrome rim. Replacing the wheel requires methodically weaving new steel spokes in a specific crossing pattern. This tension geometry distributes the weight of the motorcycle evenly across the rim, providing both strength and flexibility to absorb impacts. The rear shock absorbers are dismantled using a specialized hydraulic press. Compressing the heavy coil spring safely unloads the tension, allowing the retaining collars to be removed. The separated components are then submerged in a chemical bath to strip away the stubborn grime. With all components renewed, the final assembly begins. The steering stem is fed into the freshly painted frame, resting on well-greased bearings to ensure smooth, frictionless steering inputs. Two polished fork tubes slide effortlessly into the triple tree clamps, restoring the front suspension travel. The structural foundation is quickly rebuilt, allowing the newly laced wheels and restored rear shocks to be mounted. Every tightened bolt brings the chassis closer to its original geometry. Finally, the rebuilt silver engine block is lifted into the frame, perfectly contrasting the glossy black paint. The freshly painted fuel tank is lowered onto its rubber mounting dampers, isolating it from engine vibrations. A new leather seat drops into place, and the primary ignition wire is connected. The transformation is stark. What was a dry-rotted, oxidized shell is now a fully functioning machine again. The deep gloss of the paint and the brilliant chrome accents stand as a testament to the methodical labor invested in every component. On the road, the rebuilt engine runs smoothly, pulling through the gears with the reliability Honda intended decades ago. It is revived, reliable, and honest, in its mechanical simplicity. The scrap heap was avoided. Some machines are simply worth the long road back.